coaches? Welcome back to Coach Johnson's YouTube channel, where we talk about the power raid, the air raid, spread offenses, and then also talking about the coaching realm in general. So today I want to do something we did last year, and I've had a couple of questions on how we game plan, how we script, and just wanted to go through a drive. And so we had a lot of success on our first drives. We were able to pick up a lot of information, gather a lot of data, and we fired on all cylinders on a lot of our first drives, in our first or second drive, and then we kind of just ran out of ammo. But going into this game, it was a big game for us because it was a team that hadn't had a win yet either, and it was a conference game. And we were coming off of a week where we were starting to put some things together, and we felt like we had a good chance. We knew we were going to be out athleticism-wise and size-wise, but we felt like there were some things that we definitely could take advantage of based on the film. And so what I wanted to do was take you through the process of what our game planning and scripting looked like, and then how we were able to unravel that on our first drive. And yes, we scored a touchdown and did it in 7 plays. And so I just wanted to go through kind of what our mindset was, how we gathered some information, what we wanted to see when we presented different formations, motions, and plays. And we really wanted to then, how we had success with it. So we're going to go into our spreadsheet that we use. All right. And you'll see that I have notes on what we want to run for our third and fourth, medium shorts and all that stuff. And we pretty much got to the point where this was game 6 or 7. We were down to where we were working on our 5th and 6th guards. And we were at receiver. We had I think 2 of our original starters at receiver. So we were dealing with some injuries. So dealing with trying to having to go a lot of vanilla, so it was one of those things where we felt like we had to get pretty creative. And so what we started doing, especially in conference, was we wanted to come out in formations and doing things that we hadn't done, that the kids felt comfortable with. And so going into this, we had a couple reverses ready to go, and also a double pass, because we were our starting original quarterback was going through a shoulder injury but could still play receiver, so we had put him out there. And then we had some reverses because we could tell that there was a lot that this team bit really hard on the run fake, and we felt like we could get them. But also they played pretty much a classic cover 3, so we felt like there were some things in the pass game that we do, obviously with our air raid concepts, that we could be very successful with. But then also we wanted to see how they handled motion and numbers and all that. So let's kind of get into it. So one of the first things that we want to do is we start off in 2x2 a lot, and it can gather some information, especially if you're into on a hash. You can see how they line up to the field, to the boundary. And then we also wanted to see how they handled some motion, whether they handled it as a fake jet or as a long motion. And then we ran a bread and butter play, which was GT for us. Remember, we didn't have a tight end. We had tried that. It just really wasn't working. And people were packing, a 2-for-1 in the box because we just didn't have that deep vertical threat. So putting in a tight end was hurting us. And we ended up being in a deficit when we did that. And so we stopped kind of worrying about trying to run power, running buck, and we really, and inside zone. So we were down to how many different ways can we run counter, and then how can we run our power reads, which was something new that was always in our system, but we started running so that we could be reading and trying to get a little bit better numbers in the box and in the run game. So with that, we went to our first thing was we did a spread long motion. We ran some GT with an arrow RPO. A lot of times with the quarterbacks, we wait to see what would be open before we tell them that they can throw it. So really it's kind of eye candy, and then let them just hand it off, make no read, make it nice and easy, let them get into the flow of the game. And then next thing we kind of wanted to do was how do they handle the lateral movement with a GT counter. And then we kind of went into a condensed set, and we did a condensed set, and we have been running condensed sets. And I'm pretty sure that with it was what we wanted to do was a condensed set. We had run a lot of different RPOs off of it, a lot of sail. So I wanted to see how they were going to handle it. Are they going to bracket it? All that good stuff. And you could tell with the notes information we were trying to gather. But we also went with with a fake power, and we did a reverse. Ends up being a big play, which you'll see. Then we went into some unbalanced stuff. One of the things that we had seen was they're going to play a safety way back. They're going to play a corner way back. And so we felt like we could get numbers and we could get some easy yards. So we started taking a look at how they handled GT in the run game. So the box numbers with a bubble screen. Then we did the long motion, did some jet power read. And that should have been a huge play for us, but we did not block it right. Like I said, I am very vulnerable when I show a lot of this film. It's a lot different than we've been able to have. We just didn't execute, which is on us coaches, and we're going to get better at that, and we're getting better at that. And then once again, we brought in a condensed set again, wanted to see how they lined up. And this time we did just a straight up GT counter, and all of our guys in our 4x0 motion formation, everybody just cracked down, and we just went and tried to get numbers. And if we had to bounce it, then we were going to make a cornerback make the tackle. And then when we saw how they were handling our unbalanced stuff, we went to GT counter again, because we're picking up 3, 4, 5 yards. It's our bread and butter. If we hand it off, we felt like we weren't going to get a big loss. And then we ran an arrow to our fastest guy, and we ended up scoring on a touchdown. But some other things that we were looking at was running our sail, because like we had talked about, beating the cover 3, 4 verts. Could we win on our vertical route and make that safety, make the safety make a decision? And then we were going to come back into our unbalanced set and see how quickly we can get some numbers. And even on going into our second drive, when we went unbalanced, we ran a bubble screen, ended up getting 8 yards, because we ended up getting down to their 40 and the drive stalled. So I mean, our first 10, our script looked really good, and a lot of times, honestly, it did. And I can always go through and make another video if anybody's interested, or sit down and we can get on Zoom and I can show you. Our first 10 looked good. I felt like we did a really good job as a coaching staff coming together, what was working for us, what had worked against this defense, and how can we put all that together and be successful. And something to brag about is we didn't go a 3 and out all year long on our first drive. So that wasn't the problem. It was after that, making adjustments, trying to help our kids make the adjustments that we wanted to make, all that good stuff. So that's an explanation of that. And that's kind of how, going to the game plan, scripting it. I try to do 10. Sometimes then I'll also get to where I'll go 10 to 20 plays, but it's just one of those things, how the game flow is going and racking up data. I get the information I needed. But then also some of those will be kind of drive starters, whether it be some type of different motion formation type of stuff. But this was our first 10. As you can tell, going through every opponent, it's the same sheet that we use for all of them. What is working, what's been working during practice, scratching it off, things that we've been looking at. And as you can tell, for us, we got a lot of 3rd and 4th and shorts, because at that point, we were just trying to have success with these guys, and we're going to take all 4 downs if we need it. So if it was something going into 3rd and 4th down, is all right, with 2 plays that can get us, 3 to 5 yards, and that's what we kept in our shorts. So you can see that. But we're going to jump now over to our huddle and take a look at the drive. All right, so here we are, already down 7-0. They scored in the first minute. We tried an onside kick to start off the game. But as you can see with spread, all right, they're going to give us the corner is going to be 7, 8 yards off. All right. And then, like I said, is the safeties now, they had 1 safety because they're playing cover 3. He's going to end up being the safety, and he's rolling down, all right, to take care of the flats. All right. And then they have 2 down linemen. All right. And then they have 2 stand-up ends, book ends. All right. And then it's almost like a 4-2-5, honestly. And then this is their high parade guy that they travel a lot to the field. So what we wanted to do was, how are they going to handle this safety to the field? Because this is a whole lot of grass with 2 guys, and these 2 backers stayed in a lot of times. So we got a lot of information off of this. but we also off of our boundary. One of the things that we end up hitting on later in the game is we actually did a running back motion. We cracked down on that end, and we actually got a pretty big play with a running back swing route. So we got some information here, and then here we are. We used the fake jet long motion. How did they handle it? He bumped down, and he didn't even roll down till very late. So we knew that we were into the boundary. We were going to be able to get some quick game, maybe 3-by-1 quick game type stuff. But we ended up running GT counter. The end gets up the field and squeezes, and here we are, boom, we run GT counter. We love getting the ball in our running back's hands, all right? And there it is, 8 yards, all right? So just off of that, we felt really good that we were going to get some good movement that night, all right? So there it is, now 2nd and 2. So with how things have gone all year, it was one of those things of, hey, let's just keep riding the hot hand and whatever was working. So we went back to our GT like we had said, otherwise, one of the things I was thinking about is 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3. Hey, let's maybe go into the 4 verts and let's take a shot. But I had done that before and kind of gotten a little aggressive, and we lost a little bit of momentum. And so it was one of those things of I was just going to let it ride and let's just, as if it's practice, boom, let's just keep working on what we're doing. And so we run GT bubble here. Personally, any other quarterback, any other year, we're probably throwing this bubble immediately because we have numbers and leverage. It was one of those things, like I said, is it felt like every play call, just being honest, every play call was do or die. All right, so it was one of those things that we told the quarterback, until I give you any indication, just hand it off. Let's keep this drive going. So yes, if you take a look, this one of the things that we're working on this year is I would love for our quarterback to really read this defensive end and read that box and throw this ball, attack and throw this ball. We should have had numbers all day. Yes, I understand that. We're going to get better at it because this is beautiful. If we were running triple out of this, the end crashes, he's attacking him and then could throw it out there at the last second, probably would have been a huge play because he's running off there and that safety is like 15 yards off. All right, but we give it to our hot hand, our running back, all right, and get some feet moving, and we get a nice 3rd and short. All right. So one of the things that we did notice, though, is the linebackers, when they see pull, look how hard they flew. All right. They're already completely jumped out of their gap fits, their run fits. All right. And all that they're bigger up front, and they clog a hole. All right. And our guard misses on his block, and they went on the inside, and we probably should have pulled it and gone. So here we are now. All right, 3rd and short. They had struggled in our mind with condensed formations. They actually changed it up a little bit, and they brought a guy to jam. Before, what they were doing was they were just having one man outside and a safety. All right, and then trusting this defense in as being their 3-on-3. They made a good adjustment because we had been running this, and they brought a guy over. All right, so it was a great adjustment, and it was still something that we still, out of a cover 3, we still thought we could run some things out of it. But we went with that fake play because we saw the flow, and we also had known, and I'll go back into sheet, we knew that they blitzed a ton on 3rd down. So what do? Get out on the edge, get out of the perimeter. So we get a run fake, look at all the bodies in the middle, great fake, and we run our reverse. Get a nice big gain. And probably if we get a better block over here, probably a little bit bigger of a gain. Boom, so we get that. Now it's in their head, all right? So then we go into the next thing. We're putting our unbalanced formation to the boundary. They take a while to get lined up, but we take a while to get on the ball and go. And we run Q. Now, I would love to have seen him actually throw this, because if you take a look, we have them stopped. And we have a +1 out there because 2 guys are blocked. He runs into a guy being blocked. We actually had a beautiful opportunity to throw a bubble here. And we run QGT with a running back lead. Running back is should be going off the edge, should not touch his DN. What we're trying to do is almost like an art, get him to come up field, and then he's responsible for him. and our quarterback should have cut it up right there. And there should have been a big, but he's 5'7", 5'8", and love him. Great kid, and didn't cut it up, and then trips up when he is trying to get to the outside. Because if you take a look, the outside looks just as good. And he gets tripped up right here on our own guy. So what could have been thrown out there for a bigger gain, and if he cuts it up and doesn't trip, probably a couple more yards. But we got information based on how they done on balance and their numbers. And what we have is 1-2 at the point there, and then he's back there. So we love our numbers. Boom. Put that in your back pocket. We understood what was going on. But we also saw that he was possibly going to come upfield. He was going to attack with motion. So going to go have him. We're reading him on this jet power read. Going to get him on our blocking. All right. Well, then that means reading him. So that means all we have to do is block 1, 2, 3, 4 on our power read. And our center doesn't block back to the 3. Our quarterback is sensing that, and he just hands it off. But if that guy is blocked, just want everybody to look at this gap if our quarterback goes through his fake, because he did exactly what we thought he was going to do. And there's a huge hole right through there. But we also give it to our fastest guy, and he makes us look really good. And we get ourselves into another manageable down and distance. So we're into 3rd and 3. All right, and this is where we go into that GT crack. So everybody, what we're doing is, boom, guard's still kicking out, tackle's wrapping, but we are cracking all the way down through here and leaving this guy so that if he does bounce it, we're good to go. We do have him read. It's probably one of those things that we probably could have, but they are also what we figured out different than they've done, because I think they've watched film on how we were playing, on what other teams were doing. They started doing a lot of scrape exchange, which is something we wanted to see how they were handling counter. They didn't make an adjustment until right now. And you'll see defense end goes out, or defense end crashes, and then they bring the backer out to get that quarterback if he does pull. But look at this. We get all the numbers. And it was one of those things that I love that what our running back did. He followed his path, what he was supposed to do. I would love this. One of the things that we have started to work on this off season is have those eyes up. And if he kicks this out, if he bounces it, we're probably gone. This was our running back's first year playing running back. But it's one of those things that we've worked on is press, and now jump cut. And I know, look, it's one of those things of being very fine, and it's one of the things that we had to do with these guys of look how close we are from one jump cut, one block, of how much success we could already have had this year. And it's one of the things that we've learned trying to teach these guys the football IQ and what we're seeing as coaches. So that was one of those things that we've talked to him all off season. He's gotten amazing at it, been watching film, and pressing that tackle. All right, your backside puller, whether it's a guard on buck, guard on power, tackle on GT, but one of those things of press with him, follow him on his butt, and then and then he'll take you where you need to go. And hopefully we continue to get better. But we do get a first down. So now here we are, 1st and 10. We'd seen how they were playing GT. We saw that we were going to have numbers. So here we go. It's still a 4-by-0 unbalanced. We got our 1, we got our 2, we got our 3. We knew that they're going to keep a safety high. We knew that the front was going to stay the same. They're going to keep 6 guys. All right. So what we did was, who's our guy that's already made plays? All right. Well, that is our guy in the slot right there. He's already made a couple plays for us. So we're going to run an arrow with him. All right. Because we already saw that we had leverage, and we're going to run GT. What we were hoping to do, they were going to squeeze. They're going to bring him out. That's great. Crack, crack, crack. We have numbers. Quarterback, if they do somehow get through there, all right, you run it. If they attack you, then throw the arrow, and it ends up being, well, I'll let you watch it. So he scrapes down. He's going over the top. We're going to get him blocked. Got him blocked. So now there's nobody. We have a 2-on-1 with one of them being the receiver, and our quarterback saw. They made a good adjustment. We get good blocks, and we score a touchdown. So right there was one of those things, get the ball in your playmaker's hand. So that was his third touch in the game already. What is your bread and butter? I've talked about that in the video before. We went unbalanced. We ran our bread and butter play. We ran an RPO off of it, made it super simple. The quarterback was already into a rhythm now, into the game, and he had already saw that could have been a huge touchdown if he would have gotten it out there on his run. So he knew that things were working. Our offensive line, everybody was trusting each other, and we were rolling. So that is just an idea of how we take our game planning, watching film, and then putting it into our script of what we want to do to attack this team. And we got information based on their field, based on boundary. And we saw how they're going to handle GT counter. We saw that we had a numbers advantage in certain formations. So for us, we had done everything we wanted and we scored, which was great. And it helped us later in, and we ended up having our highest point total in the season. So we did a really good job as a staff, and the kids executed it amazingly. But we did come up short because obviously we went 0-10. But that's a little look at how we do things in our staff. Getting ready for a game, and we end up scoring touchdowns. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Share it, like it. Let me know what you think about it. I will be in Charlotte for the Glazier Clinic this weekend. Please hit me up. Let's try to get together. Let's talk some ball. I want to learn from you. And I hope to see any of the coaches that are there. Otherwise, thank you again for all the support, and hope you have a great rest of your weekend.